Marcus Chen pressed his hand against the cold glass of the observation deck, watching the transport ships glide through the darkness of space. Behind him, New Horizon Colony hummed with its usual activity. People working, living, building humanity's future among the stars. But Marcus wasn't thinking about the future. His mind was trapped 12 years in the past. 12 years since the separation protocol. 12 years since he last saw her face. Incoming vessels cleared for docking, the station announcer called over the speakers. All personnel to receiving Bay 3. Marcus didn't move. He came to this window every month when ships arrived from Earth, though he never knew why. Hope, maybe, or just habit. His friend David always said he was waiting for ghosts. Marcus, David's voice crackled through his communication device. You need to see this. Bay 3. Now. Something in David's tone made Marcus turn from the window. He walked quickly through the corridors, his boots echoing on the metal floors. Other colonists nodded as he passed. Everyone knew Marcus. He was one of the first settlers, helped build half the station with his own hands. The receiving bay was crowded when he arrived. People gathered around the viewing screen, watching the ships dock. Marcus pushed through the crowd, his heart beating faster without knowing why. Then he saw it. A ship with purple and silver markings. Aetherian design. His breath caught in his throat. No alien ships had entered human space since the separation. It was forbidden. The genetic compatibility crisis had made sure of that when scientists discovered that human and alien reproduction created children who would die within months. The galaxy had panicked. Every species retreated to their own territory. Mixed families were torn apart, including his. Marcus. David grabbed his arm. That ship requested you by name. The airlock doors hissed open. Steam poured out into the bay. Through the mist, a figure appeared. Tall, slender, with skin that seemed to glow with soft blue light. Crystalline hair that moved like water even in the still air. Lyra. Marcus's wife stepped onto the station, and the world seemed to stop spinning. But she wasn't alone. 2 children followed her. A boy, maybe 11 years old, with Marcus's dark hair, but skin that shimmered faintly. A girl, younger, perhaps 9, with Lyra's crystalline features but human eyes warm and brown like his own. Marcus couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Dad? The boy said, his voice uncertain. That single word broke through Marcus's shock. These were his children. His and Lyra's. Children that shouldn't exist. Children that everyone said were impossible. Security to Bay 3. Administrator. Torres's voice boomed across the space. Initiate quarantine protocols. Immediately. Armed guards rushed forward, surrounding Lyra and the children. Red lights flashed. Blast doors began to close, separating sections of the bay. Wait, Marcus shouted, finally finding his voice. He ran forward, but a guard blocked his path. Stand back, Chen. Protocol demands immediate isolation of unknown biological entities. Those are my children, Marcus yelled. Torres appeared, his face hard. Impossible. Human-alien hybrids don't survive. You know this. We all know this. Whatever they are, we need answers before they're allowed into the general population. Lyra stepped in front of the children protectively. We mean no harm. I brought them home to meet their father. Nothing more. Home? Torres laughed bitterly. Etheria is your home. This is a human colony. You shouldn't even be here. Oh, please. Lyra's voice remained calm, but Marcus heard the fear underneath. Just let me explain. Marcus pushed past the guard. She's my wife, Torres. I have a right to hear what she has to say. Torres considered this, then nodded slowly. Fine. But in quarantine. And with full medical monitoring. He pointed to an isolation room off the main bay. Everyone else out. Chen, you have 30 minutes. The isolation room was small and white, with a glass wall separating them from the medical observation team. Marcus stood on one side of the room. Lyra and the children stood on the other. Between them lay 12 years of silence. You were pregnant, Marcus said quietly. When you left. Lyra nodded. I didn't know until I was back on Etheria. By then, all communications were blocked. I tried, Marcus. I tried hundreds of times to contact you. They told me hybrid children couldn't survive. They lied. Lyra's eyes flashed with anger. Not about the science, about the reason why. The girl, his daughter, stepped forward. I'm Sira, she said shyly. This is my brother, Kai. Marcus knelt down, tears streaming down his face. You're real. You're both real. Kai looked at his mother, then back to Marcus. We've always known about you. Mom told us stories about how humans never give up, how you built stations in empty space and called them home, how you adapt to anything. Your children inherited that, Lyra said softly. Along with my people's gifts. There's something new, Marcus, something the galaxy has never seen. A doctor burst into the observation area, tablet in hand. Administrator Torres, you need to see these scans immediately. Torres studied the screen, his face going pale. This can't be right. Run them again. We've run them 4 times, sir. The results are consistent. The children's cellular structure is adapting, changing in real time to match our station's environment. Their DNA contains sequences we can't identify, sequences that don't match any known species in the galactic database. Marcus looked at his children with new understanding. What are you? Sarah smiled, and Marcus saw both himself and Lyra in that smile. We're. What happens when 2 species stop being afraid of each other? Lyra stepped closer to the glass, separating her from Marcus. They didn't just survive. My love, they evolved. And humanity needs to know why. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Because the separation protocol wasn't about protecting us. It was about preventing this. Preventing children who could unite the galaxy. And those who ordered it won't stop until every hybrid is dead. Outside the isolation room, alarms suddenly began to blare. The alarms stopped as suddenly as they started. Administrator Torres rushed back into the observation room, his expression grim. We've detected 3 ships entering the outer system, he announced. Galactic Council enforcement vessels. They're demanding we surrender any Etherian nationals immediately. Marcus felt ice flood through his veins. How did they know? My ship's signature, Lyra said quietly. I knew they would follow. That's why I came here, to New Horizon. We're 3 weeks from Earth, beyond the reach of most government forces. I thought we'd have more time. Thanks for watching. And we see you. Torres crossed his arms. Time for what exactly? To explain why you've brought impossible children to my station and put all my people at risk? To tell the truth. Lyra placed her hands on her children's shoulders. The truth. About what really happened 12 years ago. Marcus moved closer to the glass. I'm listening. Lyra took a deep breath. The genetic compatibility crisis was manufactured. The elder species, the ones who've controlled the Galactic Council, for thousands of years they discovered something that terrified them. Human-alien hybrids weren't dying from genetic incompatibility. They were dying because they were being poisoned. That's insane, Torres said. Why would anyone? Because of what the survivors became. Lyra gestured to Kai and Sarah. The first hybrid children were created in secret research facilities. Couples like Marcus and me who wanted families despite the rules. Some scientists helped us. And when those first children survived past infancy, they showed abilities that no single species possessed. Kai stepped forward. Like this. He walked to the isolation room's control panel and placed his hand on it. The lights flickered. Data scrolled across screens without anyone touching a keyboard. I can talk to computers. Not hack them. Talk to them. Feel what they need. Help them work better. The medical team gasped. One doctor furiously took notes. Sira closed her eyes. And I can feel what people need. When someone's hurt or scared, I know it. Like the man in room 47. He's dying. His heart is giving up. But he's not ready to go. He still has things to say to his daughter. Torres checked his tablet, his face going white. Patient. In room 47 is John Kershaw, terminal heart failure. His daughter arrives tomorrow. How could you possibly know that? Because I feel it, Sira said simply. Everyone's feelings. All at once sometimes. It's hard to make it stop. Lyra continued. The elder species realized what hybrid children represented. Not just individuals with special abilities, but bridges between species. Children who could understand multiple cultures instinctively. Who could survive in different environments. Who could bring unity to a galaxy that's been divided for millennia. They saw it as a threat, Marcus said, understanding dawning. Exactly. Unity means the end of their control, so they created the genetic compatibility crisis. They released a slow-acting poison into the medical facilities where hybrid children were born, made it look like genetic failure. Then, they used the fear to justify the separation protocol. Torres sat down heavily. If this is true, if there are other hybrid families, there are dozens, Lyra interrupted, scattered across the frontier, hiding in remote colonies and outlaw stations, living in fear, watching their children grow up ashamed of what they are. I've been gathering them, connecting them through secret channels. That's what I've been doing for 12 years, while Marcus thought I abandoned him. Marcus's throat tightened. 12 years of thinking she'd chosen her people over their love. 12 years of anger and grief. And all of it based on a lie. I never stopped loving you, Lyra said, as if reading his thoughts. Every day I wanted to come back. But I couldn't risk exposing the other families. Not until the children were old enough, strong enough. Not until we had proof. Proof of what? Torres asked. That we deserve to exist, Kai said quietly. Before anyone could respond, Sarah suddenly gasped and collapsed. Her body began trembling violently. The skin on her arms rippled, changing colors blue to brown to silver, and back again. Sarah! Marcus slammed his fists against the glass. What's happening to her? Lyra knelt beside her daughter, cradling her head. No. Not yet. You're too young. It's too soon. Someone tell me what's happening, Marcus shouted. The lead doctor, a woman named Amara Washington, scanned Sira with a handheld device. Her entire cellular structure is destabilizing. It's like her body can't decide what it wants to be. Human, Etherian, or something else entirely. It's called the convergence, Lyra said, tears streaming down her face. Around age 10, hybrid children go through a transformation. Their bodies try to choose an evolutionary path. Most don't survive it. That's the real reason I came back. Both children are approaching their convergence, and the only thing that can stabilize them is fresh genetic material from their human parent. Marcus didn't hesitate. Then take whatever you need from me. Blood, tissue, whatever she needs. It's not that simple, Doctor, Washington said, studying her screens. The genetic transfusion process could kill you both. Your cells would need to break down and reconstruct at the molecular level. The pain would be... I don't care about pain, Marcus interrupted. She's my daughter. I just found her. I'm not losing her now. Kai grabbed his mother's arm. There's something else. I'm picking up transmissions. The council ships. They're not just here to arrest us. They have orders to destroy any hybrid children on site. We have less than 3 days before they arrive in weapons range. Torres stood. Then we need to decide now. Do we surrender them? Hide them? Or fight? Marcus looked at his daughter convulsing on the floor, at his son trying to be brave, at his wife who'd sacrificed everything to protect their children. He thought about humanity's place in the galaxy, about the lies they'd all been told, about what kind of future they wanted to build. We fight, he said. And we tell everyone the truth. All of humanity. Let them decide what kind of species we want to be. Sira's trembling intensified. Her eyes opened briefly, unfocused and afraid. "Daddy," she whispered, the first time she'd called him that. "I'm here," Marcus said through the glass. "And I'm never leaving you again." Problem. Dr. Washington prepared her medical team. "Then, let's start the procedure. We don't have much time." The medical bay had been transformed into an emergency surgery center. Dr. Washington and her team moved with practiced efficiency, setting up equipment that Marcus didn't recognize. Sira lay on a bed in the center, her body still shifting between different states, sometimes more human, sometimes more Etherean, sometimes something entirely new. Marcus sat beside her, holding her small hand. Her skin felt warm, then cold, then warm again. "The procedure is ready," Dr. Washington said. "But Marcus, you need to understand what you're agreeing to. We'll need to extract your genetic material and integrate it directly into Sarah's cellular structure. Your body will experience massive trauma. You could die." End quote. Well, 7. We need supportive found die. "And if I don't do it?" Marcus asked. "She'll definitely die. Within hours, maybe less." Marcus squeezed Sira's hand gently. "Then there's no choice to make." Lyra stood on the other side of Sira's bed, her face pale. "Marcus, I can't ask you to." "You're not asking. I'm choosing." He looked up at her. "I've missed 12 years of her life. I won't miss whatever time she has left." Kai paced near the window, his hands clenched into fists. "This is my fault. I should have monitored her signs better. I knew her cellular instability was increasing." "You're 11 years old," Marcus said firmly. "This isn't your responsibility. But I'm her brother. I should protect her. And you will, by being strong while we help her." Marcus turned to Dr. Washington. "What do you need me to do?" The doctor guided him to a second bed positioned next to Sarah's. "Lie down. We'll connect you both through direct transfusion lines. Your genetic material will flow into her system while her body tries to stabilize. You'll feel everything. She feels the pain, the transformation, all of it." "I don't want sedation," Marcus said. "I need to stay awake, to be with her." "Marcus, the pain will be unlike anything you've experienced." "I don't care." Dr. Washington nodded slowly. "You're as stubborn as the stories say. All right, let's begin." Dr. Washington nodded. The medical team attached sensors and tubes to both Marcus and Sira. Marcus watched needles slide into his arms, felt the cold touch of medical equipment against his skin. Across from him, Sira's eyes fluttered open. "Dad?" Her voice was weak. "I'm right here, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere. I'm scared." "Me too. But we'll be scared together. Okay?" She nodded slightly. Dr. Washington checked her instruments one final time. "Beginning genetic transfusion in 3, 2, 1. The pain hit Marcus like lightning. Every cell in his body seemed to tear apart and reassemble. He gritted his teeth, refusing to scream. Through the agony, he kept his eyes locked on Sarah. She was experiencing the same thing, but she was just a child. If she could endure it, so could he. Minutes felt like hours. Marcus's vision blurred. He heard voices shouting medical terms he didn't understand. Machines beeped urgently. Through it all, He held on to one thought. His daughter needed him. Then, gradually, the pain began to shift. It became less like burning and more like building. Like something new was being created from the broken pieces. Her readings are stabilizing, one of the doctors called out. Marcus forced his eyes to focus. Syrah's body had stopped shifting. Her skin settled into a soft pattern, human features with delicate traces of Etherian luminescence. But there was something else too. Something neither human nor Etherian. "What's happening?" Lyra asked, her voice filled with hope and fear. Dr. Washington stared at her screens in amazement. The transfusion isn't just stabilizing her. It's creating a template, a stable hybrid genome that her body can use as a reference point. She's not choosing between human and Etherian anymore. She's becoming both. Fully both. The procedure ended. Medical teams disconnected the equipment. Marcus tried to sit up, but his body felt like water. "Rest," Dr. Washington ordered. "You've just had your entire genetic structure reconstructed. You need time to recover." But Marcus couldn't rest. Not until he knew. His daughter sat up slowly on her bed. She looked at her hands, turning them over with wonder. "I feel different, stronger, like I'm finally complete." Kai rushed to his sister's side. "Sarah, you're okay." She hugged her brother tightly. Then she looked at Marcus with tears in her eyes. "Thank you. You saved me." "Always," Marcus whispered. "That's what parents do." Lyra came to Marcus's bedside and took his hand. "What you did giving your genetic material to stabilize her, it's created something unprecedented. Other hybrid children could use Syrah's genome as a template for their own convergence." Before Marcus could respond, Administrator Torres burst into the medical bay. "The Council ships have accelerated. They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours, not 3 days. His face was grim. "They're not here to negotiate. They're here to eliminate the threat. All of it. The children, the station, everything." Marcus forced himself to sit up despite the weakness in his limbs. "Then we need to warn people. Send out a message to every human colony." "And say what?" Torres demanded. "That we're harboring illegal hybrids? That we're willing to start a war over children who shouldn't exist?" "They should exist," Dr. Washington said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. "I've been studying Kai and Sarah since they arrived. Do you know what I've found? They're not human. They're not Etherian. They're better than both. They represent evolution in its purest form. Adaptation. Combination. Improvement. If we turn them away, we're saying that fear matters more than progress." Kai had been quiet during this exchange, his hand pressed against a computer terminal. Suddenly he spoke. "I can help. I've been building something while you were saving Sarah. A broadcast system that can reach every human colony simultaneously. We can tell everyone the truth. Show them what we are. Let humanity decide if we're worth protecting." Torres shook his head. "That would expose everything. No more secrets. No more hiding." "Good," Marcus said, his strength returning. "I'm tired of secrets. I'm tired of lies. If the Galactic Council wants to destroy us for choosing unity over division, then let humanity know what we're fighting for." Lyra looked at Marcus with pride. "This is the man I married. The one who builds bridges instead of walls." Syrah slid off her medical bed and walked to the window. Outside, stars glittered in the darkness. "If we send the message, there's no going back. Everyone will know about us. Other hybrid families won't be able to hide anymore. Maybe it's time to stop hiding," Kai said. Marcus stood on shaky legs and joined his children at the window. He put his arms around both of them. "Your mother brought you home so I could meet you. But maybe that's not the only reason. Maybe you're here to remind humanity what we're capable of when we choose love over fear." He turned to Torres. "Send the message. Tell them everything. And prepare for whatever comes next." Torres was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. You're either the bravest man I've ever met, or the most foolish. Maybe both, Marcus said with a tired smile. Kai moved to the communications array. His fingers flew over the controls. The system is ready. What do you want to say? Marcus looked at his son, at this impossible, wonderful child who could speak to machines. At his daughter who could feel the pain of strangers and wanted to heal it. At his wife who'd spent 12 years protecting families like theirs. Tell them the truth, Marcus said. Show them who you are. And let humanity decide what kind of future we want. Kai stood before the broadcast equipment, his hands trembling slightly. The entire communications center of New Horizon had been converted for this single transmission. Every human colony, station, and ship within range would receive his message. Billions of people would see his face. Are you sure you want to do this? Marcus asked his son. Once this goes out, everything changes. Kai looked at his father, then at Sira standing beside him. We've been hiding our whole lives. I'm tired of pretending I don't exist. Dr. Washington made final adjustments to the broadcast settings. The signal will reach the nearest colonies in minutes. Earth, in about 3 hours. The council ships will intercept it immediately. Good, Lyra said. Let them hear the truth. Administrator Torres checked the countdown timer. You have one chance at this. Make it count. Kai nodded and faced the camera. The red light blinked on. Somewhere in the galaxy, billions of screens flickered to life. My name is Kai Chen, he began, his young voice steady. I'm 11 years old. I like building things and solving puzzles. I have a little sister who cares too much about everyone around her. I have a mother who taught me to be brave. And a father I just met today. He paused. I'm also half human and half Etherian. I'm what your governments told you couldn't exist. He held up his hand to the camera. His skin shimmered with faint patterns of light. This is what I am. Not human. Not alien. Something new. And there are others like me. 37 children scattered across the frontier, hiding because we're afraid of what you'll do when you find out about us. Sarah stepped into frame beside her brother. I'm Sarah. I'm 9. Today I almost died because my body couldn't decide what it wanted to be. My father, a human I'd never met before today, nearly died saving me. Not because he had to, because that's what parents do. That's what love does. Kai continued. The Galactic Council is coming to destroy us. They say we're dangerous. They say we're a threat to the natural order. But I have a question. He looked directly into the camera. If you fear what you don't understand, how will you ever understand anything? The broadcast cut to footage. Kai had compiled images of the other hybrid families, children laughing and playing, parents holding babies who glowed with impossible beauty. Normal lives lived in secret. These are the people the council wants to eliminate. Kai's voice narrated over the images. Not because we've hurt anyone. Not because we've broken any laws. But because we prove that different species can build families together. Because we represent something they can't control: unity. The footage shifted to scientific data. Dr. Washington's research on the hybrid children's abilities, their potential to survive in multiple environments, their capacity for unprecedented empathy and innovation. We're not asking for special treatment, Sarah said, as the image returned to the two children. We're asking for the same thing every child deserves. The right to exist. The right to live without fear. The right to know our parents. Marcus watched his children speak with fierce pride. They were so young, yet so incredibly brave. The broadcast continued for another 10 minutes. Kai and Sira told their story, simply and honestly. They showed their abilities, Kai interfacing with technology through touch, Sarah demonstrating her empathic connection by describing the emotions of people she'd never met. They made it impossible to see them as threats. They were just children who wanted to live. In 6 hours, the Galactic Council will arrive at New Horizon, Kai concluded. They will demand we surrender. If this station refuses, they'll destroy it, and everyone on it. We don't want that. We don't want anyone to die because of us. But we also can't keep hiding. His voice grew stronger. So, we're asking humanity to make a choice. What kind of species do you want to be? One that abandons children to save yourselves? Or one that stands up and says that every life, no matter how different, matters? Sarah added softly. Our mother brought us home because she believes in humanity. She believes you're capable of something the rest of the galaxy isn't radical kindness. Was she right? The transmission ended. The red light blinked off. Silence filled the communications center. Everyone stood frozen, processing what had just happened. Then the responses began pouring in. Messages flooded the station's systems from every corner of human space. Some angry, some confused, but so many filled with support. Message from the Mars colony, a technician announced. They're sending ships. 3 hours out. Europa station responding. Another called. Their entire defense fleet is mobilizing. Ganymede, Titan, and the belt stations all confirming. They're coming. Torres stared at the incoming transmissions in disbelief. They're coming here? To defend us? Not just to defend the station, Dr. Washington said, reading the messages. To defend the children. Humanity is answering the question. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. He pulled his children into an embrace. You did it. You showed them who you are, and they chose you. But Lyra's expression remained troubled. The human response is wonderful. But look at this. She pointed to another screen showing Galactic Council communications. The hardliners are doubling down. The Enforcement Fleet Commander has orders to fire on any human ship that interferes. Kai pulled away from his father and returned to the computers. Then we need to do something else. Something that doesn't require fighting. What are you thinking? Marcus asked. The other hybrid children, all 37 of them. Since Syrah's stabilization, I've felt something. A connection. Like we're all linked somehow. Kai's hands moved across the controls. What if we could broadcast not just to humans, but to everyone? Not with words, but with feelings? Dr. Washington looked intrigued. A neural frequency transmission? That's theoretically possible. But we've never tried it. Syrah finished. Because no one's ever had 37 hybrid children connected across space before. Lyra understood immediately. You want to make the galaxy feel what it's like to be you. To experience your perspective directly. I. Exactly. Kai said. Words can be ignored. Facts can be disputed. But feelings real. Genuine emotions, those are harder to deny. Marcus felt both pride and fear. That would expose every hybrid child to the Council. They'd all become targets. We're already targets, Dad, Sarah said gently. At least this way, we're fighting back. Torres checked his screens. The Council fleet will be in weapons range in 4 hours. Human ships are arriving, but they're outnumbered 5-1. If you're going to try this neural broadcast, it needs to be soon. Kai began establishing connections to the other hybrid families. On screens around the room, children's faces appeared, some younger than Sarah, some older than Kai. All of them beautiful in their unique combinations of human and alien features. Are you all ready? One by one, they nodded. Marcus watched his son prepare to do something that had never been attempted. He thought about the risks, about everything that could go wrong, but he also thought about what Kai had said in the broadcast. If you fear what you don't understand, how will you ever understand anything? Do it, Marcus said. Show them who you are. Kai looked at his sister. Sarah took his hand. Together, they reached out across the stars to their fellow hybrid children and began to broadcast something more powerful than any words the pure, unfiltered experience of being caught between worlds, of being loved by parents who defied galaxies to give them life, of wanting nothing more than the simple right to exist. The neural frequency pulse launched into space, traveling faster than light, reaching every evolved mind in range. The neural broadcast hit the galaxy like a wave of pure emotion. On the bridge of the lead council enforcement ship, Commander Vrek of the Krillian Empire staggered backward. His species had never experienced tears, their biology didn't allow it. Yet water streamed down his scaled face as he felt what the hybrid children felt. The loneliness, the fear, the desperate hope that someone, somewhere, would see them as more than mistakes. He saw through Syrah's eyes watching other children play while she hid what she was. He felt through Kai's heart the ache of wanting to meet a father he'd only known through stories. He experienced the memories of 37 children who had done nothing wrong except be born. Across the fleet, weapons systems powered down. One ship, then another, then another. Captains who had been ready to fire on New Horizon now sat in their chairs, shaken to their core. "Sir?" Vrek's second officer asked. "What are your orders?" The commander wiped his face with a trembling hand. "I have 3 daughters," he said quietly. "If they were in danger, I would tear apart stars to save them. How can I destroy someone else's children?" On New Horizon, Marcus watched the tactical display in amazement. The council fleet is standing down. Torres checked the readings again. Not all of them. One ship is still advancing. It's massive, 10 times the size of the others. The communications console crackled to life. A deep, ancient voice filled the station. "Impressive, young hybrids. You have made warriors weep. But emotional manipulation is not proof of worth." The voice carried the weight of millennia. "I am First Architect Zenith. My species has watched the galaxy evolve for 50,000 years. We do not make decisions based on feelings. We make them based on purpose." Lyra's face went pale. "The architects. They're the oldest species. The founders of the original Galactic Council. We challenge you to the proving," Zenith continued. "An ancient test of sentient worth. If you pass, your kind may exist without interference. If you fail, or if you refuse, every hybrid child in the galaxy will be eliminated." The communication cut off. Kai looked at his parents. "What's the proving? A test that hasn't been used in 10,000 years?" Lyra said, her voice shaking. "The last species that attempted it was destroyed. Not just killed, erased from history. Even their name is forgotten." Marcus pulled his children close. "We can refuse. We can fight instead. And thousands will die," Syrah said softly. "I can feel them all. The people on this station. On the approaching ships. They came to help us. I won't let them die for us." "Then we accept," Kai said firmly. Torres shook his head. "Your children. You can't, possibly." "We're not asking permission," Kai interrupted. "We started this with our broadcast. We'll finish it." Marcus wanted to argue, to protect his children from this impossible test, but he saw the determination in their eyes, his stubborn will reflected in them. They were his children, after all. "Then I'm coming with you," Marcus said. "The proving permits only one participant." Zenith's voice returned. "The hybrid child chosen will be selected at random. Prepare for transport." Light engulfed Kai. Before anyone could react, he vanished. "Kai!" Sarah screamed. Marcus lunged forward, but his son was already gone. A holographic display appeared, showing Kai standing in a strange white space. Around him, a world materialized. A planet with cities, oceans, and billions of life forms moving through their lives. "The test is simple," Zenith explained. "This world is dying. Environmental collapse, resource depletion, species extinction. You have been given the power to save it. Demonstrate that hybrid children deserve to exist by proving you understand what existence means. Kai stood alone in the simulation, looking overwhelmed. He was 11 years old, facing a test designed to break the strongest minds. Marcus pressed his hands against the screen. Kai, if you can hear me, you're not alone. We're all here. With you. For 3 hours, Kai tried everything. He used his abilities to stop natural disasters, to purify water, to restore forests. But every solution created new problems. The population grew too fast. Resources depleted faster. Wars broke out over the remaining supplies. On New Horizon, everyone watched in helpless agony as Kai struggled. Sarah collapsed, overwhelmed by her brother's despair transmitted through their connection. By the 6th hour, the simulated world was worse than when Kai started. Cities burned. Species went extinct. The planet itself seemed to be dying faster. Kai sat among the virtual refugees, exhausted and broken. I can't do it, he whispered. I'm making everything worse. Marcus felt his heart breaking. His son was failing, and there was nothing he could do to help. Then a small virtual child approached Kai, a construct that looked remarkably like Sarah. She asked a simple question. Why are you trying to save us alone? Why? Lie. Why? Why? Kai looked up slowly. Understanding dawned on his face. I've been doing this wrong, he said to the empty air. The test isn't about having power. It's about knowing when not to use it. Instead of fixing the world himself, Kai began teaching. He shared his hybrid vision with the virtual inhabitants, showing them how to see problems from multiple perspectives. He demonstrated his ability to adapt, and they learned to adapt too. He connected them empathically, and they began to feel each other's needs. He didn't save them. He gave them the tools to save themselves. The simulated world transformed. The inhabitants didn't just survive, they thrived through cooperation. Different species that had been fighting now worked together, each contributing their unique strengths. The simulation ended. Kai reappeared on New Horizon, falling into his father's arms. The holographic image of Zenith appeared before them. His ancient face was unreadable. You passed the intelligence test. You passed the compassion test. But you failed the most important test. Marcus's heart sank. They had lost. You failed to remain separate, Zenith continued. You refused to solve problems alone. You shared your gifts instead of hoarding them. You created unity where we expected you to maintain division. The architect's expression shifted into something that might have been a smile. This is not failure. This is transcendence. You proved that isolation is weakness. Unity is strength. The proving is complete. You have earned the right to exist. The architect ship began to withdraw. Commander Vrek's voice came over the communications. We will escort your ships safely out of Council space, and we will carry your message to the Council chambers. Things must change. 3 years later, Marcus and Lyra stood on the observation deck, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. But this time, no one was leaving. The deck was filled with families, human, alien, and hybrid children playing together. Kai, now 14, stood beside his father wearing a diplomatic uniform. The Council had made him humanity's youngest ambassador. Sarah had chosen a different path, working with Dr. Washington to heal diseases that had been thought incurable. Do you regret it? Lyra asked Marcus. The 12 years we lost? Marcus watched his children laugh with their friends. A Krillian girl, an Etherian boy, a human child from Mars. We didn't lose those years. We spent them becoming who we needed to be for this moment. Sarah ran over and hugged them both. More families are arriving tomorrow. 17 new hybrid children. They're not hiding anymore. 2. Kai joined them, looking out at the stars. Mom used to tell us that you built stations in empty space, and called them home. That humans adapt to anything. She was right. Marcus smiled. We adapt. But more than that. We accept. We bring things together, instead of pushing them apart. That's humanity's real gift to the galaxy. A young couple walked past a human woman and a Krillian man, holding a baby that shimmered with scales and human features. The mother smiled at Marcus. Thank you. For fighting for our daughter, before she was even born. As they walked away, Marcus thought about everything that had happened. The separation, the return, the struggle, the victory. We never left you, Lyra said softly, echoing the promise she'd made 12 years ago. Marcus pulled his family close. And we never will. That's what it means to be family. You don't abandon each other. You adapt. You grow. You become something better together than you ever were apart. In the distance, more ships approached. A new galaxy was being born, one where being different wasn't a threat, but a gift. One where the words, "We never left you," weren't just a promise, but a foundation for the future. The end.